Hey, what's going on, guys? How are you doing? How have you been? Here are 50 things you didn't know about Elden Ring's DLC, Shadow of the Erdtree. There are a total of 42 bosses in the DLC. However, the Leda NPC fight before Concert Radon is not considered a boss, because she does not have a boss health bar at the bottom of the screen. This may seem like an obvious fact, but trust me, it isn't. Divine Beast's Dancing Lion is the first remembrance to not give you a weapon or a spell when you exchange it at the round table. Instead, it gives you a talisman and a dash of war. Concert Radon's remembrance is the first and only remembrance that gives you the option of more than 2 items when you exchange it at the round table. There are only 3 required bosses to beat the DLC: Mesmer, Ramana, and Promised Concert Radon. And no, you do not need to defeat Rolana or Golden Hippo to beat the DLC. If you think this fact is obvious, trust me, many people don't know this. Gaius is the only mounted boss in the game that you are supposed to mount instead of the rider. Other mounted bosses like Putrescent Knight and Knight's Cavalries all require a riposte on the rider. The Yolan invasion does not give you runes upon death, and it is the only invasion that is linked to a boss fight. If you kill Yolan but then die to Ymir, then you will have to refight Yolan. No other invasion in the game is like this. You cannot get the Scorpion Stew from Hornsent Grandam if you kill Mesmer before speaking with her. If you kill Mesmer before talking with her, she will become unresponsive. You can infinitely backstab Jory so that he never gets a chance to attack you, which is nice because this fight f***ing sucks. The Deathrite Bird in the DLC is similar to the Deathrite Bird in Mountaintops of the Giants, because you do not need it to be nighttime in order for it to spawn. These are the only 2 Death Birds or Deathrite Birds in the game where this is true. You don't actually have to die to Saint Trina 4 times in order for her to speak to you. You only need to select the Imbibe option, then warp away to the nearest Grace right away. Once you do this 3 times, you only need to die to her 1 time after this in order for her to speak to you. Usually, you need to kill 2 Kindred of Rot in order for more to invade you. However, you can have him invade you only after killing 1. You can do this by first killing Queenline in the church and then immediately killing the Shivering Kindred of Rot nearby. More will then invade. Typically, you only need to speak to Tyrlier once in order to have more give you the black syrup. However, if you have already broken the Sealing Rune, you must speak to Tyrlier twice before speaking to Moore. But you will then have to answer Moore's question of being happy or sad, then talk to him again to get the black syrup. If you don't want to wait for Egon to stop talking after you defeat the dueling drakes, simply punch him to skip the dialogue and immediately talk to him. Or you could just quit out and load back in to not be a monster. The Poison Perfume Bottle is the only perfume bottle that upgrades with Somber Smithing Stones. Hence, it's the only perfume bottle that cannot have its Ash of War changed. Gaius' Sword Lance is the only remembrance weapon in the game that upgrades with the regular Smithing Stones. All other remembrance weapons are upgraded with Somber Smithing Stones. If you have trouble dodging Gaius' opening charge, you can just go around the corner to the left and wait for him to charge. You get caught in the corner and then you can fight him normally after he goes past you. The boss with the most amount of HP within the DLC is not Concert Radon, but it's actually Midra. However, Midra has much lower resistances, making it seem like he has less health. You may know that if you riposte Erdtree Avatar after each phase, that the next phase will start with less HP. However, if you happen to stagger the boss and riposte it into the next phase, then the next phase will not start with less HP. If you have trouble dodging Erdtree Avatar's explosion attack, here's an easy way to do it. Once you see the light shine from the stem, jump twice and then immediately roll to the side. If you want an easy way to dodge the triple explosion attack, then jump twice, roll to the side, jump again, backstep, then roll twice to the side. If you don't want to fight Anna, the invader before Metter, all you have to do is crouch walk off this ledge and wait for her to fall off. The most number of NPCs you can have present in the Leda fight before Concert Radon is 7. You can have up to 2 allies between Ansbach, Tyrlier, and Natan, and you can have up to 5 opponents: Freya, Moore, Hornsent, Dryleaf Dane, and Leda. The Leda fight before Concert Radon is the only fight in the game besides Malekith that can have variable dialogue. This is depending on how many people she has on her team. If she only has Dane, she will only mention herself and him.
Needle Knight Leda and Dryleaf Dane will never allow this.
If she has Dane and another NPC, she will mention herself, Dane, and then say our ally.
Needle Knight Leda, Dryleaf Dane, and our ally will never allow this.
But if she has Dane and at least 2 other NPCs, she will mention herself, Dane, and then say our allies.
Needle Knight Leda, Dryleaf Dane, and our allies will never allow this.
If you don't want to run through Castle Unzus to get to Rolana, all you have to do is do this skip with Torrent to get to her quickly. To To get to the finger ruins of Dea faster, all you need to do is go from the Dragon Communion Grace, jump on this finger, jump down, and then make your way to the finger horn. Consort Radahn is tied with Elden Beast for the boss that gives the most runes, being 500,000. Baal gives the second most runes in the game with 490,000. However, he gives the most runes in the game for a boss that does not drop a Remembrance. You can save a little bit of time getting to Ancient Dragonman and Dragon's Pit by making this fairly difficult jump. You can get to the Shadowkeep Loft Grace and Commander Gaius without going through Church District. You can do this by making this jump around the contraption in the middle of Shadowkeep. The Deflect tier is the longest lasting physic tier in the game, which lasts for 5 minutes. Dryleaf Vein is the boss that gives the least number of runes in the DLC, with about 4,000 runes. You can get from Anir Lim to right before Dancing Lion in Ballarat by doing this skip. Or you can jump down and respawn at the Stake of Marika. You can have the Furnace Golem and Ancient Rao kill the Crucible Knight Devonia for you. Senesax is the only boss in the game that gives both a regular and somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. And somehow this still doesn't make it worth it to fight this shit boss. Lamenter is the only boss in the game that can kill you without even technically attacking you, through his lamenting mechanic. All other attacks in the game can be dodged, but to avoid the Lamenter death, you need to deal damage to either Lamenter or the clones. You can repulse Golden Hippo from the opposite side of his head. The same can be done with Commander Gaius. Mesmer and his giant snakes are two different entities, even though they share the same health bar. This means that you can bleed and frostbite both of them individually for double the damage. You can repulse Metter when you are underneath her neck, meaning you don't have to run in front of her face. A similar trick can be done with Putrescent Knight. The dueling Jagged Peak Drakes are interesting. The non-boss Drake does not give any runes upon death, and is unlike any other adds in the game, because this Drake doesn't go away immediately after the boss dragon dies. However, it will be gone once you reload the area. Ramana and Putrescent Knight are the only bosses in the game who can damage themselves with their own attack. Ramana can damage herself with her butterflies, and Putrescent Knight can damage himself with the Ghost Flame Fire. However, this is very rare for him to do. The enemies on the stairs of Anir Lim that cast the spirals at you can be one-shot with a backstab, no matter what weapon you use. You can even use your fists. If you're tired of getting hit off your horse by the Lampreys and the Finger Ruins, it may be helpful to change the time to night, so that the enemies don't notice you from as far away. It takes 3 parries to stagger both Millennia and Consort Radahn. With Millennia, you can parry her twice in Phase 1, and then just parry her one more time in Phase 2 to stagger her. However, this trick does not work on Consort Radahn, meaning that you have to parry him 3 times at the beginning of Phase 2 no matter what. Before Consort Radahn's triple slash attack was nerfed and slowed down, you were able to completely dodge it while heavy rolling. Metter's Quasar attack in Phase 2 is interesting. You can't roll through it, and you can't outrun it. In fact, if you mod the game to give yourself super speed, the laser will actually turn faster and still catch up with you. Dryleaf Thane is the only missable boss in the DLC. After you beat the Leda NPC fight before Consort Radahn, Dane cannot be fought anymore. To dodge the Phase 2 AoE roar attack of the Red Bear bosses, all you have to do is stand behind them, and you won't get hit. Although Consort Radahn's Remembrance is the only Remembrance in the game that gives you the option of 3 different items when you exchange at the Round Table, Gaius' Remembrance can give you his Sword Lance, which, as stated earlier, is the only regular Smithing Stone Remembrance weapon in the game. This is significant because the Sword Lance comes with a detachable Ash of War, making Commander Gaius technically the only Remembrance that can give you a weapon, a spell, and an Ash of War. You used to be able to avoid Promised Consort Radahn's orbital attack by jumping constantly. This bug was soon patched out of the game. And lastly, the Tree Sentinel duo in the Hinterlands are unique in that you don't get runes if you just kill one of them. You only get the runes when both of them are dead. This is strange since if you kill just one of them, you get an item, and that same Tree Sentinel will not respawn if you die or reset the area by sitting at a grace. This makes them the only bosses in the game that can potentially not drop any runes if you just kill one of them. If you made it this far in the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. And if you want to learn more about Elden Ring, click either of the 2 videos on screen now.